Thank you for coming today. I just want you to imagine looking at your hands underneath the microscope and some of the things that you would see there. You would probably see some dead skin cells. You would see multiple little creatures that you don't recognize, and that's a lot of bacteria, under your fingernails especially. And that would probably bring on some emotions like, I don't know, maybe disgust, thinking that you had kept up with washing your hands properly, and you're thinking, that's disgusting. And you might be a little shocked at how much you might see there. And then if somebody's standing next to you, you'd probably be embarrassed if they saw what was under the microscope on your hands. And I just wanted to let you know that in my first semester of nursing school, it was impounded in me and all of the fellow students that the #1 way to prevent the spread of this nasty bacteria is through proper hand hygiene techniques. And after covering some basic information on the spread of harmful infections causing microorganisms and the problems that are associated with them, I'm going to demonstrate 2 ways that you can use to prevent the spread of these bacteria and viruses. First, with hand washing with soap and water, and then secondly, with using an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. According to my Fundamentals of Nursing textbook by Kosher and Herb, there are 4 different categories of microorganisms that cause infection to humans. The first is the most common, and that is bacteria. And there are hundreds of species of bacteria, and they are transported via the air, water, food that you eat, soil, body tissues, fluids, and multiple surfaces. The second is viruses, and viruses have to enter a human cell in order to reproduce, and some examples of a virus are common cold, herpes, and HIV. Then we have fungi that we come into daily contact, that's molds and yeasts. And then the 4th is parasites, and they actually have to live on organisms in order to be classified as parasites. And some examples of that is helminths, which are malaria-causing parasites, and also arthropods, which is a big fancy name for ticks, fleas, and mites. Yay! And now that you have a better understanding of what microorganisms can cause infection, let's talk about when are good times to get rid of these off of your hands. Well, according to Mayo Clinic, when you touch people, surfaces, objects throughout the day, you're accumulating bad germs that can be spread to others. And proper hand washing wipes the slate clean, literally. And according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or CDC for short, back last year in 2009, they stated that approximately 22 million school days were lost because of virus and bacteria causing microorganisms that affected the children. And that viruses and bacteria, when they land on a surface, they can last 20 minutes up to 2 hours. They also state that you always need to make sure that you wash your hands before doing the following: food preparation, before you eat, before treating wounds and giving medications to yourself or to others, and before inserting or removing your contact lenses. And then you always need to wash your hands after food preparation, especially with raw meats and poultry. Hopefully you know this one: after using the toilet, after diaper changes, and after dealing with your animals, their toys and their leashes and their waste products. Anytime that you have blown your nose or sneezed or coughed into your hands, anytime you've treated wounds or touched a sick person or a sick baby, or after you've touched garbage or any other contaminated items. And now that you know some of the basic information of when to cleanse, I'm going to demonstrate 2 ways in which to cleanse your hands properly. The first way is with soap and water, and it doesn't have to be with an antibacterial agent necessarily. And then the second is with an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Now, scientists strongly believe, and I've already said this, that the #1 way to prevent the spread of viruses and bacteria is through proper hand hygiene. And the CDC website says to follow these simple steps. So I'm going to demonstrate for you now that the first thing you need to do is to wet your hands. And then just one little squirt of soap is all you need, and then you vigorously need to rub your hands together. The tops of your hands, in between your fingers. Don't forget underneath your fingernails, because critters love to burrow and multiply under there. Don't forget your thumbs. And you're going to do this for at least 20 seconds, or for as long as it takes to sing the Happy Birthday song twice. And you are lucky that I'm talking through this instead of singing to you. So that's been about 20 seconds. Then you rinse thoroughly, and you're literally washing the bacteria down the drain. And then you want to, the best way is to take a disposable towel or a hand dryer, and you're going to pat your hands dry. You're going to use the same towel to turn off the faucet so that you do not recontaminate your hands. And then I'm going to teach you how to use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Now, the Mayo Clinic suggests that you use at least 60% concentration of alcohol in the product, and you can just see on the back how much it has. I believe that most of the products out there are going to have at least that much. And since I'm an overachiever, I made sure I got 63%. And what you do with that is you just take enough to cover both of your hands. Same thing as with the soap and water. You're going to vigorously rub it all through the cracks and crevices on your hands, your fingernails. It takes about 25 seconds. You'll know because it'll be dry. And that is it. I know that wasn't 25 seconds, but you get the idea. So in conclusion, just wanted to remind you that I've talked to you today about the 4 different types of microorganisms that we come in contact with every day that get on our hands and we can spread to others, and how we spread them, and the #1 way to prevent the spread, which is with proper hand hygiene. And then I demonstrated 2 ways to implement this prevention, which is with soap and water and then with the alcohol-based product. And now that you will be immediately implementing proper techniques for hand hygiene to prevent illnesses to yourself and your loved ones around you, you won't be feeling so leery about looking at your hands underneath the microscope after all. Thank you, and I'm going to pan my audience now. And aren't they smiling so nice? Thank you, everyone, for listening.